straight into questions.
Josh, all the turnovers, I imagine film review was not a happy situation for not just you, but the players and everybody involved.
Yeah, we've got to eliminate turnovers. Obviously, those are not only just drive killers, but they're momentum swings in the game. And one thing that you obviously realize about our team right now is momentum swings like that really take a lot of air out of us, deflate us, and we've got to be able to hold on to the ball. Obviously, the fumbles we've got to eliminate, and then we've got to be able to eliminate the sacks. And I think obviously taking care of the quarterback and obviously protecting the football is our premium number one task each and every week.
Can you take us through what happened from a protection standpoint on the play Tyler got hurt on?
Yeah, there was obviously it was a first and foremost. Let me say this was very complicated pressure that our guys saw in that situation. Double mug, five interior players walked up in the line of scrimmage at the line of scrimmage, and then two overhangs weak. And typically when you see types of pressure, you either see a four-man overload to a strength or a weak side. And actually, this case, they brought five. Right or wrong or not, I think they had a little bit of confusion on their end that worked out on their part because when you watch the play, there was multiple people that were uncovered. The sack just happened too fast. And so, it was one of those deals we walked back through it, made sure we corrected that from a communication standpoint up front. And anytime you're in any type of what we call free release protection, you've got to make sure that everything is identified correctly so the quarterback's aware of where his hot is and knowing that his backside is protected. But unfortunately for that play right there, they brought a 5 week, which is a very tough pressure to pick up at any point. It's unfortunate that Tyler got hurt in that play.
Josh, how did Jake kind of handle just his time on the field on Saturday? I mean, obviously he had a few moments where he looked really good and a few moments, bunch of turnovers, he had a rough end of the game. How did he kind of handle that, mentally or emotionally?
Yeah, I think Jake did a great job coming in at first. And I think, one of the things that you've got to do whenever you've lost a quarterback in a game, I think the next most important thing is to make sure your second quarterback stays protected. And then things started obviously to unravel a little bit once Jake got a little bit of pressure. And that's going to come with game experience. This is really his first time, facing pressure in those type situations. I thought he did a great job in the opening drives of the second half. But, ultimately, the way we started the game within the first 2 or 3 drives and the way we started the second half, it's consistency. We can't have the ups and downs that we're going through. And we can't let adversity, whether that be turnovers or another team driving down the field scoring, we can't let that affect our rhythm and flow of the game. And unfortunately, we haven't been able to overcome those lapses in games. And so we've got to continue to pull together, push through it. We're not where we want to be by any means. And I know, obviously, our players are disappointed and hurt, no one more than us in this building. But we got tremendous faith and confidence as we move forward with them that we're going to be able to clean up things. And there's still games left. By no means are we going to hang our head down and tank it. We've got to continue to push forward.
And even in that same vein, how confident, if Jake does end up having to start for this coming week or maybe in the future going forward, how confident are you in the staff and him?
I am very confident. I'm very confident in Jake. Jake has displayed his ability. Obviously, that was Jake's first real time of actually seeing adversity, right? He's been in other games and had success. He led us in success in that game in a short period of time. And so, we'll clean up the mistakes. And obviously, he's preparing to be the guy, and we'll obviously continue with our preparations as we always do with Jake, Ja'Curry, and even Peyton, because you've got to continue to prepare your number 2 or your number 3 as if they're a number 1. And so we got tremendous faith in him, and we'll get the job done with whatever quarterback we have.
I was going to ask you specifically, each week, how often does the starter get all the reps, or how does it sort of break down percentage-wise?
Yeah, percentage is about, it's about 60-40. 60-40 in starter to backup reps. Sometimes that obviously changes. We faced some challenges a little bit lately, just being able to eliminate. We haven't had as many 2 reps just because of our depth across the board, right? We don't have the depth on offense, whether that's across the offensive line, skill position needed necessary. So some of that has taken away from our 2 reps with the quarterback, because you always want your first string quarterback being consistent with the receivers, tight ends that those guys are throwing to. But we're facing a lot of challenges, obviously, from the depth standpoint. We just got to continue to push through.
And I guess a kid like Ja'Curry, obviously, he was the 3 quarterback before this. Just how much opportunity he's got to really run with the first team offense in practice at all to this point?
Not many opportunities, just because of obviously Tyler's been our quarterback and obviously Jake's been a strong number 2 for us. But obviously it increases. You know, when you see a quarterback go down in a game, it's a frightening situation because your 3 just became your number 2 and your 2 became 1. And so we've got to make sure that first and foremost, like I said, we protect our quarterbacks. We got to get Tyler back healthy, get him going. And, you know, obviously we look forward to just continue to develop our backups.
Josh, one of your bright spots has been the development of Colby Young. I mean, he's every game he seems to be doing more, excelling more. You even see him downfield blocking and things like that. Talk about how quickly he's developing into a quality player for you.
Oh man, he's done an exceptional job, and I really am proud of Kobe. Even Henry Parrish. I mean, you look at across the offense, and some of the new faces that we have, the guys that have came in and transferred, Frank Lass and Kobe Young, Henry Parrish. Even Jonathan Dennis. I couldn't imagine where we would be if we didn't have those new faces that showed up on our roster this summer. I mean, those guys have provided tremendous immediate value. They've provided us playmaking ability. And stability. And when you're not very deep and already facing challenges from injuries, it's critical that those guys step up in big roles. And Kobe has done that. I think you see his confidence growing. I think you see the confidence in the quarterbacks growing in him. And I think that's very, very important as a wide receiver, that you must demand the confidence of the quarterbacks. And when you talk to our quarterbacks, they love throwing to Kobe. He's got a tremendous catch radius. He's got a big body, competitive in nature. And he's done an exceptional job. Now, we still got a long way to go. We're going to continue developing him, but we're really, really excited about his future. And he's still young. He's 19, and so he's got a lot of football ahead of him.
Anything else for Coach Gattis?
About Henry Parrish, I mean, obviously, he got back into the game Saturday, had some good moments. How much do you want to see? He only got 11 carries. How much do you want to see him kind of touching the ball more going forward?
Yeah, we've got to find ways to get Henry the ball more, because when you see he's different. He's the value he brings us, not only obviously as a pass catcher or runner, but when the ball is in his hands, he runs so hard. He's fluid out there on the field. He plays hard. Not having him, we felt his absence. When you saw him back on the field, we immediately noticed him back on the field, and so we love Henry. We feel very highly about him. And we got to continue to find ways to get him the ball, And I think it's very important that as we hit down this final stretch, that we've got to have our best players available, and we got to have our best players be our best players.
And then similarly with Jalen Knight, he's had a couple rough games, a ton of production, and he's fumbled a few times. How's he gonna handle that? And what's been your message to him? Well,
you got to stay consistent, you got to stay positive, you got to move on. We got to push and push through. There's going to come adversity. We've all been through adversity before. We've all been through adversity, whether that's as a player, as a coach. I know I went through it as a player, been through it as a coach. Things don't always go your way, but you got to push through. You can't hang your hat and keep your head down. There's been some unfortunate situations for him. He's got to learn to grow from them. And I think obviously, having someone like Henry, who you're able to go out there and compete with and see, that's got to push you. It's got to push you to be your very best each and every day. It's got to push you to perform at your highest level in games. And we're going to need that. We're going to need that from all our guys. Now is not the time to pout. We've got games left and time left. We've got to find a way to hit this breakthrough and this emotional breakthrough. That's a big deal. Being positive, confidence, and inspiring our guys is very, very important.
Josh,
We'll do 2 more for Coach Gattis.
On those fumbles by Nagin, was he carrying the ball recklessly, or was it just good plays by the defense getting hands in there?
For Jalen, the biggest challenge that as we move forward is not being just a one-arm dominant ball carrier. I think that's something that we've got a bad habit right now where kids are only holding it in their right arm and they're dominant. And when you saw specifically, right, with both fumbles, Keyshawn Smith and Jalen's, right, both balls were in the inside arm. And so we've got to continue to harp that in our ball security. Got to continue to focus on the fundamentals of ball security, offhand, ball hand type things that we teach, and getting the ball in our outside arm. And those are learning lessons. And unfortunately, learning lessons come with a price, and a price that we had to pay for learning through that. But we have got to eliminate the fumbles. Those have been detrimental to us as well as some other things. And so we've got to continue to protect the football.
Before halftime, there was 2 minutes left in that scenario where you ran the ball 3 times and then you took your shots to the end. Could you explain your thought process right now?
Yeah, before halftime, obviously we faced some adversity right there with losing Tyler. So now you've got a backup quarterback in the game, and we went through a situation when obviously we lost Tyler, then we lost our center, Jonathan Dennison, and so some new pieces getting put in the game in some critical situations, facing some pressure. First things and foremost, when things are falling apart for you in a pressure pickup standpoint, you got to be able to calm down everybody. And how do you do that? Obviously, being able to try to establish a run. There was plenty of time we felt like at the time, where we had time and we had a timeout to be able to use that we could be able to run the ball to kind of calm guys down, but also not put too much pressure on Jake as we get ready to go into the half and rally the troops. And so it was important at that point that we move the ball successfully, get a first down. But obviously in 2-minute situations, there's also increased opportunities for runs, right? Where teams are either defending the pass or trying to blitz the pass rush, and you're able to gain some creases in there in the run game.
Coach, with that
Last question for Coach
just with the
Gattis.
run game in general, we've talked so much about the production just not being there. And I know it's a philosophy that you want to run the ball, be successful like you were earlier there. Is there some of you that maybe we shouldn't run the ball as much, or maybe go to the pass more because the production's there? What's that balance like?
That's a great question, and quite honestly, our kids have shown us the ability to run the ball. They have. You look at the first 3 games of the season; they've shown us the ability. We've got to pull it out of them. We got to pull that back out. I've got the utmost confidence in our guys, in our players, in our offensive line, our running backs. We've got to pull it out. We got to pull it out. I think oftentimes these young men, as they're beaten over the head with a certain message, they can't do something. They actually become what the message becomes. And we've got to go back through it. We've got to instill the confidence in them and the confidence and the belief that they have done it. If they hadn't done it before this year, then I wouldn't have any confidence in our run game. But the fact that they've shown it in tough environments versus very tough teams and on the road, you think about it when we played Texas A&M, right? The run game was probably our strength at that point. As it showed itself then, we've got to be able to find it again, especially, as you see some of the challenges that we face, even with the quarterbacks being hurt. So you're going to see pressure, you're going to see teams blitzing you more as they feel like you're going to end up throwing the ball more. You're throwing the ball 40, 50 times a game, you're going to get all those pressures. And with different pieces that we've got up front with the offensive line, interchanging parts, center guards, we've got to be able to establish the run. Now, what that number is, never going to hang my hat to it, but we feel like we have a really good running back in Henry Parrish. I feel the confidence in our offensive line. And let me say this too, up front, I have tremendous credit for DJ Scaife, Jalen Rivers, and John Campbell. Those are the 3 guys that haven't missed a snap or missed a game for us all yet this year on offense. Everyone else has been knocked out at some point, whether it's been a game or for multiple games. And to see those 3 guys battle through it each and every week and being consistent, showing up in games, I've got tremendous confidence in those guys as well as the other pieces and other players that we have up front. And we've got to continue to pull it. We will have the utmost confidence in them.
Thanks, Coach Gattis.
Thank you, guys.